Hey everybody, it's Brian Cook with Networking Dojo, and I'm here with my good friend Casey Eberhart. We're going to interview him because we think it's so important that you as a viewer understand what top producers do, what their day-to-day life is like. And we're going to really introduce you to what a real person Casey is, which I don't know if I'm really sure about, but we're going to
find out.
We're going to find out, and this is kind of off the cuff, so we just don't know what's going to happen. I got to say, Casey, it's an honor to interview you. I mean, I know.
Why are you sitting there with a smirk on your face already?
I don't know.
Because he already knows that this is going to go. Yeah. This may go. The wheels may fall off of this. We'll give you that one.
Yeah, it's raw. I'm telling you that right now. This is going to be raw. We haven't done it. But I have to say, it's an honor to interview you. I know you're following. You have loyal followers. People treat you like a rock star. Now, that's funny, but
yeah, exactly.
But you have a great following, and you are an amazing speaker that can really work a room and give. What I like about you is that you give people something they can walk out of a room with and put into action right away. It's not, you don't talk to them and say, do this, do this. You give them real good nuggets. So let's just start out with your story. What's your story?
Yeah, well, first, Brian, I can't tell you how excited I am to both be here with you and Clint, be a part of the Networking Dojo group, and all of you that are watching. First off, I just want to acknowledge you. I know there are 8 million things you could be doing, including playing Gagaville on Facebook, and the fact that you're watching this indicates to me that at least you're somebody that's looking forward to taking your business to the next notch or the next level. So first off, thank you guys for having me. My story is actually one, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, and I'll try to summarize this as much as I can. But when I was 5 years old, my grandfather, who's a huge entrepreneur out in Colorado, I remember very distinctly where my business career started, and that was one day when I was in first grade, 5, 6 years old. My grandfather put me on the back of a tractor, and we drove on his tractor out through his antique shop. He had an antique store in his garage. Then we drove by his Model A and Model T restoration shop, which is old cars from the 20s. And then we drove through his farmland into one of his pastures where he raised about 100,000 head of cattle and had oil wells and gas wells and water wells on this land. So he had kind of his whole portfolio right there. And he took me out and he drove me and he said, hey, here's the deal. I'm going to give you your first business lesson. And that lesson is this. If you can give the customer more than they ever expect, you'll never have a want for business. You'll never have a want for money or customers or clients. And I'm like 5 years old. I'm like, okay, let me drive the tractor. Mm-hmm. You know. And so he said, well, we're going to go practice this because I see in you what I am, which is an entrepreneur. And I'm like, onto what? And so we drove back to the antique store, and from there, he made me ring up these two little ladies that had driven by and stopped and bought these. I don't know if you remember, but back in the 20s, there were these telephone things that they used to stand on top of telephone poles, and they were like green glass things, like transformers or something. I don't remember what they were called. And they bought 2 of them. And I was like, Granddad, you got to ring them up. And he's like, nope, you're a kid. They'll buy more from you, bat your eyelashes, look cute, and, whatever. And so I just kept hearing him say, treat the customer better, treat the customer better, treat the customer better. And, it wasn't treat somebody like I want to be treated. It was treat somebody way better than I wanted to be treated. And so I remember I was a little kid, and I took these things and I wrapped them all up in paper, and I took them out to these 2 ladies' car, and I actually opened up the back seat and I put the bag in the back seat for them. And then I actually took the seat belt and I seat belted the bag in because I didn't want them to shake around and get broken. And they were so taken back that they actually tipped me $20 above and beyond. And I was like, I'm hooked. Because there was a case where I had made like $5 selling them these antiques, but I got $20 because I went so far above and beyond the call of duty. And from there, that took on my whole entrepreneurial spirit. Everything I do is about giving more than I ever expect to receive. So my first business was a garage sale. I came home from that vacation, and my granddad had told me about a garage sale, so I went to our garage and I put the picnic benches up, and I did displays, and I dusted things off, and I put signs around the neighborhood. I opened up the garage doors, and I'm selling stuff. And my whole thing, because remember, in my head, what I had heard was you sell something for $5, but you treat them so much better, they give you $20. So I remember I'm just selling stuff out of the garage sale, and my mom opens the door at about 7 a.m., just as I had sold their chainsaw for $0.25. They had no idea what I was doing. But it's how do you get mad at a kid like that? And so from that point on, I've always had businesses. I did Ivy Stars, where it was Grow It Green Nursery. You know, I was in 6th grade and I thought I was going to do a catering company. It was Casey's Catering Capers. And from there, I sold candy in my locker. You know, and one of the things that I tell this story about locker in junior high all the time, and that's this, that I used to sell those Tootsie Pops. Remember the Tootsie Pops where it had if you got this proverbial piece of paper that had the Indian on it shooting a star and it's supposed to mean something, which nobody's ever been able to explain what it is. So I would sell all this candy out of my locker. And Mr. McCamey, our vice principal, one day called me down and said, if I catch you selling candy, you're going to stay after and sweep the whole school. And I come from an education family. My mom's a principal of high schools, and she designs them. And so all these teachers and stuff were friends of mine. I grew up with them. It was very weird calling them Mr. or Mrs. blah, 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 because they're all friends. And teachers party harder than any group. Don't let anybody tell you differently. And he said, hey, look, you're going to sweep the school after school if you get caught selling this stuff again. And I said, so let me understand this, Mr. McCamey. If I sell candy and there are wrappers on the floor, I'm going to have to stay after school and sweep the floor. He said, yes. I said, got it. And just then the lunch bell rang, and I walked right outside. I remembered I stood up on one of the cafeteria tables, and I screamed at the top of my lungs that today was half price off, throw your wrapper on the floor day. And I stayed after school from that point forward every day and swept the school. And I made $50 to $60 a day selling candy. I figured I could sweep the school in about 45 minutes, listen to, Karma Chameleon on my Walkman, on the tape with a little tape. And that's how I made my money throughout junior high. And so from there, it was a series of entrepreneurial. So I ran a water park. I was a general manager out at a water park in Seattle. Came down to California after that to work in the movie business. We won an Oscar for a movie I worked on in 97, called Being John Malkovich.
I'm sure they've heard of it.
Yeah, started a little movie called Being John Malkovich, and I started an equipment rental company. From there, I ran a bunch of businesses, and then sold an equipment rental company, bought a sweatshop. I like to say it was a perspiration salon, simply because I'm in marketing, but we made 6,000 pair of women's pants a day that you would never let anybody you know wear because they were hideous. And from there, I kind of got into network marketing because I was looking for something new to do, and the evolution has just kind of continued to now I'm a speaker trainer in both not only network marketing and direct sales, but also traditional business, small business, and quite frankly, big business, and teaching people how to sort of network and navigate the social media waters, and that's where we are today.
That's a great story, and just, for the people that are watching, what we're doing, we're playing 21 Questions with Casey, and I think it's important that you watch how he tells his story. I mean, it's very passionate. It is who he is, and there's people got to know your story, so there's a lesson in your story.